Two bald guys with Rancher Ron. Two bald guys with Rancher Ron. Two bald guys with Rancher Ron. A long-winded Monday morning, time to rise and shine. Want some motivation? Well, I know a few guys with the internet connection. 216 is on. Tune in. The two bald guys with Rancher Ron. Introducing Coach Papa Tim Stewart's his name. He's a master with the pen in the poetry game. He wants to see a better world and he plays his part. Always loving, always giving, cause he's got a big heart. The co-host won't boast, but he can stand on his own. From the state of Iowa, it's the man Ken Jones. He's impressive on the mic and he don't need a cord. Whether hosting or achieving, he's controlling the boards. And the one feeding the hungry herd around the world. With timely observation, dropping nuggets and pearls. Though he's not a city slicker, he's as cool as the Fonz. It's the witty wisdom giver, Mr. Rancher Ron. Set the tone for your week, 216 is on. Tune in to Two Bald Guys with Rancher Ron.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully this thing is working right. We did a lot of work here over the weekend at 216 The Net, and we got some neat new things coming up. Some new shows as well this week. We're very, very excited, but thanks for kicking off the week with us right here with two bald guys and a microphone. Of course, as you remember, one bald guy, Tim, Coach Papa. Thank you, Shayna says great glasses. Coach Papa enjoying the birth of his 12th grandbaby this morning. I believe they're inducing. I hadn't heard if they had the baby over the weekend or not, but nonetheless, he is on grandpa duty. So, Coach, our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family as you rush in number 12, which is absolutely fantastic. What a great weekend we had. Where this is the final part 3 of The Power of No. And if you've got comments, ideas, thoughts, feel free to share them with me. Would love to get your thoughts as well. But the power of no, they're just as we kind of kicked off the beginning of this series of saying no, and that no isn't necessarily negative. There always comes that moment when you say, don't call me, and you finally mean it. When you return the charming gift because you forced yourself to acknowledge its invisible strings. When you turn down the friend's request for a helping hand, a colleague's plea for immediate advice, even your teenage kid's expectation that dinner will appear before them. All because you have goals of your own from which you refuse to deflect, whether trivial or tormenting. Each of these moments is an exercise that that ain't a poorly understood power, and namely the power of no. No is healthy. No is a good thing. No is something you should lead with sometimes in dealing with people. There's a lot to be said about yes. Yes supports risk-taking, courage. Yes gives you an open-hearted approach to life. No, on the other hand, kind of the way, if you're of any age, no is kind of like that metal gate that swung in front of some people's house. Not a chain link gate, but one of those wrought iron metal gates that people had on their yard. And no is that metal grate that just slams shut. It's heavy. It's there. It shuts the metaphorical window between oneself and the influence of others. It's rarely celebrated. And here's the cool thing, though. It's a hidden power because it's both easily misunderstood and it's very difficult to engage. It's likely that most of us are, most of us are unaware of of the surge of strength we draw from no, because in part it's easily confused with negativity. Either you can evolve a turning away, a shake of the head, or a firm refusal. But they're distinctly different psychological states. So it really, a lot of the power of no really comes to, what we say, how we say it, to whom we say it, and when we say it to. And it's tough. Shayna says the power of no is addicting. A yes in a situation when a no would be better, it will when a no would be in better alignment with you, only results in resentment to both yourself and the other. It makes your soul dirty to lie to yourself. I think I like that. That you know what that is. There's your T-shirt for the day, Shayna. A lie makes your soul dirty. Yeah. The hard thing is when we don't say no when we should, we're too worried about someone else's feelings. I know in my life for a long time, I've said yes to a lot of things that when you got done or in the middle of it, you're like, oh God, why did I do this? Ugh. and it's just miserable. It ruins your day, ruins your week. You lament on that for a while. You go back and forth, and you really just sit there like, oh gosh, why did I do that? Ugh. And because we do things like that, yeah, you're right. It does make our soul dirty because we've let ourselves down. We've let our own psyche down. We've let self down. We've let maybe even the people around us down because I didn't think you would do that or act like that, or and you did. Man, that was weird that you did that way. That was totally unexpected. And it is addicting. Once you feel the rush, the satisfaction of saying no to something that you need to say no to, or something that perhaps you should have said no to a long time ago, man, the next no is easier and celebrated. Um, the word no is, as we've said in the last couple of weeks, is something that we have been raised with as negative, and negativity is a chronic attitude. Think of it as a pair of emotional glasses through which some people get a cloudy view of the world. Negativity expresses itself in a that whining perfectionism, a petulant discontent, or kind of that naysayer, risk adverse type. Don't ask Jones. Don't ask Deke. He's he's negative. No, negativity is a huge energy suck. Think about the negative people that you deal with on a daily basis, and for whatever reason you're thinking that you need to be able to um, help them or change them or something. We all do it. I mean, it's there. But negative people douse enthusiasm of others. And, I always say we're given that circle of energy each day, and stress and negativity shrink that circle fast and puts us in places that we just regret. Hey, Lisa, good morning. Glad to have you with us, sister. Shayna says, worse is when someone gives a yes to me and then hits me with resentment. My no is now a celebration of the recognition and honor of my personal boundaries. I agree. And the personal boundaries really have to be, you have to know them well, and you need to stay in those zones. And too many of us in society and throughout our life, have not lived inside those boundaries. And it seems the younger we are, the more that we live outside of those boundaries. They say, um, Uncle Pete always said that he loved his 50s because he felt wisdom. And there's always I think about that, and I ruminate with that a lot because I'm in my early 50s still. I don't have to be in my not mid yet, or late 50s, but it is true. Um, it seems that Uncle Pete Uncle Pete would say he's got no more fucks to give. When you're in your 50s, you're kind of that way. It's not that you don't. It's just that you have a better understanding of what's important and what's not important. You have a better understanding of, you know what, if I say no and it pisses you off, screw you. Well, get over it, cupcake, right? Which is easy. Maybe it just takes that long to find you. It might. It's a destination. It's a journey, not a destination, rather. So when you think about that, and you look at it, maybe it is just part of that journey where it's like, hey, you're going to be an idiot, and you're going to worry too much about what other people think and how other people react. So you're going to do things you're not going to want to do, for whatever reason, and that could just be an experience or whatnot. And you may just end up saying, yeah, it is what it is. Lisa says, in your 50s, you finally learn that when you give away your fucks, uh, it gives you, what's it say? If you give away your fucks, you got you know where accepted. You know where accept exhausted. I'm really having a hard time reading that. Of course, I'm just drinking water this morning, so I'm not drinking coffee. So let me rehydrate. Yeah, in your 50s, you finally learn that when you give away your fucks, um, you got your no, where, I don't know. I'm having trouble reading that. Anyway, I'm going to stop reading that, Lisa. Whatever. Jen Krejci, good morning. Glad to have you with us. A lot of work was done here in the studio over the weekend. We kind of went ham on this place, so stick around later this week for other shows where you're going to see some brand new stuff revealed and some neat studios. You're gonna love it. Anyway, we're talking about the power of no, the word no, not KNOW. Here's, we were just talking a little bit about how negative people suck that energy out of you. Where negativity is an ongoing attitude, no is a moment of clear choice. It announces that something affirmative to you. I will not sign. I will not buy that. No, your sales pitch is too hard. Whatever the case may be, that affirmative, is saying that's not my truth. I will not join your committee to help with your kids review your project because I'm committed to some important project of my own. Count me out. I don't want to do this. No, thank you, because you might feel hurt if you turn down your invitation. But here's what I'm telling you. I'm taking my needs as a priority. Lori, good morning. Hey, how are you? Yeah, I don't know, Lisa. I couldn't understand. Lori Parrish says, it seems to me you're describing the use of no in a positive, empowering way. Now, exactly. And that's what we're trying to get at with this entire series of the power of no's. And not KNOW, but NOW, because the power of no really does. It sets those boundaries. Melody, good morning. Glad to have you with us. And of course, you're tuned in 21.6 The Net. This is two bald guys and a microphone. Now, the other bald guy is not here. He's down in Texas as he's welcoming in his 12th grandchild. So, Coach, good luck, and I'm glad you got grandpa duty today. Shayna says when you put enough road behind you, the patterns become more clear. It's easier to steer around some of those potholes because you have seen it before. How concerned are you with keeping a balance with the ego? Well, and that's what I mean. I think as you get older, that wisdom, quote unquote, that wisdom is the piece of uh, you've learned to put your ego in check, perhaps. Um, you know, it is. I think it's a way that you can, um, you know, keep everything in check, which is nice. So that's to me is a strong thing. Lori says, love that. It's a choice and it can feel really good. And we make that choice that's respectful of self and others. And yes, when we're saying no, we're being respectful of others. Absolutely 100%. However, the way that they take it sometimes is like, man, you're disrespecting me. And yes, great to see you too, Lori. Um, that's tough. And I think that's why we haven't said no as often as we should, or understood that no is that absolute 100% positive word. And it's a great thing. Um, and it can really, you know, the, the no is an affirmation of self, I don't know, self implicity. It acknowledges personal responsibility, says that while each of us interacts with others and loves, uh, respects and values the relationships, uh, we we do not and cannot allow ourselves always to be influenced by others. The strength we draw from saying no is that it underscores the hard truth of maturity. And the old saying, right? The buck stops here. And that's a huge piece. Lisa says, how many times were you told as kids, behave, be nice, don't make waves, be a team player, etc., etc.? So aren't we a bit preconditioned not to say no? No. There you go. How's that for a hard no? And Lori says, I would agree, Lisa. Yeah, we hear the word no a lot more than we hear yes. The issue is, and we talked about maybe last week or on the first part of this series, was that we're not told why. We don't, and as children, as a toddler, um, don't stick your finger in that light socket because it could kill you. We don't understand it could kill you part. We just hear the word no, and then we get our hands slapped. Oh, so no becomes that negative piece of no. No means no, unless you're talking to a salesperson, and then no means not right now. So the word no can be and is definitely, um, uh, we've been preconditioned not to say no because it might hurt little Johnny's feelings. Find a different way to say no. I would like to, but the word no does have a heavy negative connotation. Um, but no is both the tool and barrier by which we establish and maintain the distinct perimeter of the self. Okay. So no says, this is who I am. This is what I value. This is what I will and will not do. This is how I will choose to act. Um, I mean, most of the people who are tied in and caught in the net truly love others, um, give to others, cooperate with others, and truly try to please others. But we are always and at the core distinct and separate selves. we need no to carve and support that space. So I always like to hesitate when I talk about my self, my space self, not myself as one word, because self is 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 that energy that connects to the 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 earth, to the world. Right now, all of you know, and I am a huge TikTok. I love TikTok. Anyway, a lot of people, whatever. If the Chinese want my information, good luck. It's not a deep read, uh, but there is such good stuff out there. A lot of garbage too, right? But there's really good stuff. Out there on TikTok, and one of the interesting things, and Lisa, you may know this because you do Reiki as well, but one of the things out there now is going and standing in front of a tree limb, um, and asking the tree to touch your shoulder, and there's no wind, and you'll see the limb reach down and touch your shoulder because of the energy. Now, as a Reiki healer, I was talking to a master Reiki healer this past weekend, and they go, yeah, that's kind of step one, is to go out and get in tune with the energy, get in tune with the world, and go stand and hug a tree to feel that. Now, crazily, I tried it. I was like, this isn't. And so I got two great, awesome trees in my backyard, big maple trees. And so I went and stood out in the backyard, and those goofy trees touched my shoulders. It was interesting, to say the least. That could be another tree toucher, might be another subject. Shayna says, how do you know when you aren't just being obstinate? For instance, I will kill a deal if I feel my integrity is brought into question. Remember the saying, don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Yeah, I struggle with that one. LOL. Yeah, Jen, of course, Jen Krejci is a Reiki master. Yeah. Oh, I did the tree. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. It is. I did the tree touch me, and I was like, hey. So here's the interesting thing about the tree is that one of the trees I took off a limb, right? So the week before I had taken off a limb, and I really should have videoed this, but the tree that I was standing on in the backyard, I go, hey, I know that I took that limb off, but it was really for your own health. Um, and I know you're probably mad at me right now, but trust me, in the long run, it's going to make you healthy. I know it hurt a little bit, but if you could just touch my shoulder, and the thing patted me on top of the head a couple times, and then the thing touched my right shoulder, and I was just like, "What in the world is happening?" It was amazing. It was truly crazy. So if you see somebody out there, I'm telling you, you got to try it. Lisa says, "Yeah, I'm a Reiki master as well, but never done the tree thing." You got to. It's absolutely crazy. And all things are living organisms, Lisa says. So if you can connect your energy to it, the energy connects and follows. Yeah, and that, when you aren't saying no when you should say no, you're allowing that energy to be sucked out of you. You're allowing the universe, you're allowing other people to poo-poo on your energy, which is tough. If we go back to what Shayna was saying, how do you know when you aren't just being obstinate? For instance, I will kill a deal if I feel my integrity is brought into question. Um, how important was that deal? Is there another deal? I think by saying no, you're moving on to perhaps the next deal. Now, have we made mistakes? Absolutely. And does the word no sometimes lead us to make mistakes? Yeah, absolutely. But what does that mean? To me, we learn, right? We don't lose, we learn. And if we do cut off our nose to spite our face, well, then perhaps, um, which is interesting. No recognizes that we are agents of our own limits. I mean, for most of us, this self in charge and wholly responsible, it's very powerful. It's lonely, and it's a huge adult awareness. Now, most people, I think, approach it in two steps forward and one giant retreat, giving in to the beloved, to the bully, to our own urges for another drink or an unnecessary purchase. For our ego, for our pride. I mean, the closer we get to manning the barricade of self limits, the stronger we are. That kind of strength does need, you know, does need a lot of backbone, I guess, right? Um, Lisa says, I have had people sit with trees and ask it to draw the energy from within and pull it out and into the earth, to the ground, and to literally feel the energy pull. Yeah, I do too. I will go out on a bad day, or if you actually have a headache, like a migraine, go take your shoes off, stand barefoot on the ground, and hold on to a tree branch for about 3 minutes, and that migraine will go away. That's tougher to do in the Midwest during the winter. Your feet will get cold, but it does work. Yeah. And Lisa says, I literally endorse tree hugging. I am a tree hugger. I go out and talk to my trees all the time. It is nuts. I don't know. Anyway. Now, as we have said through this series, The Power of No, and coming up next week, we're going to get into a series called The Fallacy of Leadership. Leadership is a big buzzword, of course, in the business world, and what a true leader is, and what a leader should be. Perhaps spiritual leaders, perhaps. Yeah, anyway, it's going to be a good one, probably for the next 4 weeks, a 4-part series of the leadership fallacy, which is, I think, going to be great. Of course, you're tuned in right here, 21.6 The Net, and you've got two bald guys and a microphone, of course, brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center. Natural Therapy Wellness. Check them out at www.mchenrymassage.com. They are incredible. We love them. If you've got a little stress from not saying no, then what I would suggest is reach out to John and his staff of licensed massage therapists. They can do sports massage, deep tissue massage, hot stones, you name it, Thai yoga. I mean, they have got it all. Check them out at www.mchenrymassage.com, which is great. So, as we were saying, over the course of this, The Power of No, we've said that no really has two faces, the one we turn towards ourselves and the one that creates boundaries between ourselves and others. The struggle to strengthen our internal no, the one that we address to own one's self, the one that we address to our own, I guess, self-destructive impulses, is the struggle in which we are most familiar. No, I don't want that cookie. No, I don't want to overeat. No, all that good stuff. That no controls our vent of rage on the road and our urge for that next cigarette. We call that no self-discipline. Which is interesting, and that's sometimes the inner battle as we go. That how did I remember a great conversation I had with my dad when I was 18. I've shared it, I think, a couple times, and I'm like, Dad, I was 18, an athlete. I was getting ready to go in and play college basketball. I was in the best shape of my life. And I look at my dad, how do you let yourself go like that? When you were in high school, you look good. And I'm a senior in high school, and I just remember my dad saying, well, you wait. And that's all he said. And now I look at myself and I go, how do you let yourself go? Because it's too easy to find comfort in those things that tear us down little by little. That the overeating, the drinking, the smoking, the partying, the no, let me just have one huge cup, bowl of ice. Let me have um the instead of a cookie, let me eat an entire row of cookies. Let me have that Twinkie, let me have whatever the case may be. And that no is a hard thing for us, and we battle it all the time. And then that's where that no really kills and destroys us, because um we don't explain to ourselves why we need that no. Now, the no that we direct towards others, um, is something different. Um, but that no that we direct towards ourselves comes from that internal self-governor, whose job is to contain our urges, as I was just talking about, and manage our priorities. And all of our lives we work on refining that self-governor and tweaking it and building it and shoring it up. And the huge rewards of our governors, developing ability to say no, not too rigidly, but enough and wisely too, are productive, gives us peace of mind. The power of no is absolutely that payoff. And that payoff is worth its weight in gold. It's immeasurable to be able to have that self peace, the ability to just feel um, that you have met and understand the I understood the assignment, right? I mean, that's the whole beauty of the power of no. Um, over this month, the power of no, and this, this series of two bald guys and a microphone has been a joy for me to learn to watch. How does that work, and how do you say no, and what is it that, and how is it that we grow. And it's helped me tremendously. So I've said no to things. I've said no to people. At the same time, I've said yes when I shouldn't have. And as I was on the way to that appointment, I had to shovel some things around, because it was my boss. How do you say no to your boss? Well, you say no. They should they brought you in to do a job. They should respect that, and they should honor that. And if they're going against your calendar, that says that, are they respecting your time, right? So I learned how to answer that, when my boss was like, "Hey, are you going to be stopping by the office today?" And I said I wasn't planning on it. However, in respect to your time, I can adjust my calendar. Now, the respect to, when I said that, his response was, "Don't worry about it. We can talk on Monday when we're both in the office." So, uh, helping people see why you're acting, saying no, um, also allows them to go, "Ooh." maybe I wasn't cognitive of his time. Now, got access to my calendar, so you see that I'm not in the office. This is a day that I have every week that I plan on spending out of the office to build relationships and things. So, um, are you respecting my time? So I had to say I wasn't planning on it, but out of respect to your time. And then I think he understood and said, "Oh, am I respecting Kent's time?" And the answer to that might have been no, um, which is cool. Um, Now there has to be a line in the sand when it comes to the word no. There has to be a line in the sand. How much no is too much? Who turns down a needy friend to tend your own garden? Most of the people that listen to 2160, I don't think do. Where is that line? And I'll ask you, where is that line between actualization and selfish? Okay. Who refuses to lend support to the modest effort of a group of friends? What's the boundary between important principles and stubborn optionalism? I that is a great question. Where does it come from? And at what point have I pushed everything to the side um, to say no because of my selfishness? Um, Lisa says there's a difference between a belligerent power play no and respectfully declining. But don't we get into trouble sometimes by respectfully declining? And God, don't patronize me. Just tell me no. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Wouldn't we rather just hear that as a person? And or yeah, I guess I get what you're saying as well. I mean, if I come out and say, listen, no, because I'm going to be doing something for myself and I don't give two shits about you, then yeah, that's an issue. All right. Um, and that respectfully declining is you can say, no, I'm sorry, I can't. All right. Well, let's sit with that for a minute. You're not sorry, you can't. 9 times out of 10, you're not sorry. You can't. Maybe we should do a show on the word sorry. Sorry is way overused. And, that's anyway, I digress. So at 9 times out of 10, we're not sorry. We're overjoyed that we can't, that's different than just a rejection with no. And I get what you're saying then. Just nope. And walk away. You fall back to let me give you the explanation with the word no. Now, yeah. So Lisa says I usually am sorry if it's someone I care about, and it probably with you I can see that. With many people, not really, right? No. Nope, got a thing. Can't do it. I mean, think of your neighborhood. Think of your neighbors. You're out maybe working on a project. You could use a hand. Your neighbors will tend to stay inside or keep themselves busy to not give you that hand, or they may wait to see you falling off the ladder or whatever and run over and then give you a hand when they could have earlier. But yeah, I don't know. The word sorry is a whole different thing. Yeah, feelies, things. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. I think that when we're looking at that power play, when you know when you're looking at when it keeps you true to your principles and values, I guess when that answer does, it's really it's a beautiful thing. I mean, emotionally and spiritually and even professionally. That's why I say, are we really sorry? Because man, it's to be generous, to be supportive, that that is the coolness, I think, of saying no. Um, I, yeah, I just, you know, that's the cool thing, and what I think we need to see more of. Yeah, yeah, they usually grab their, yeah, that's right. Hey, look at me, a little selfie. Hey, look at me right here. I'm over here holding Lisa's ladder. This is great. Uh, Me, Jen says, knows I say no, no to people begging at the intersection, but to local charities, I'm as generous as can be to help out a cause. Yeah, the millionaires with their families on the corner holding a sign saying they're homeless. Anyway, no. Lisa says, I had a big boss treat me poorly last week. My boss demanded they apologize. I said, why? An unmeant apology has no energy or meaning. That's correct. They don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. And they don't mean it, right? Yeah, but just remember the steps, the backs that you step on up the ladder are the asses you kiss as you fall down it. So there you go. Uh, so the word, yeah, I agree. Now, I will say this too, Jen. I'm very bad. If I'm giving my money away, I'm sending it to 216 the net care of. Um, if I'm giving my money away to a charity, I do a lot of research. I'm not. What's it going to? If it's going to support somebody's $350,000 salary, they don't get my money. Oh well, we divvy it. No, you don't get my money. If it goes to uh, if I can see it in action, um, then yes, that's where I tend to spend that money. Um, I have helped people who seem to be quote unquote homeless. Oh, you said Mia knows. Oh yeah, Mia knows. That's her son. So my kid sees me not give a crap about the street beggar, but to the free cyclers and community pantry, I'll give all I can. Yeah, and again, that's I'm with you. And I always, boy, you've got nicer shoes and clothes than I do. Um, and here's the best part about those families. Now they have all their kids out there with them, and they're like, I don't have a job, and they're next to 18 stores right now that say now hiring. Crazy. Shayna, it does. It has fake energy and it's static. I know those empty apologies. You just soon slap them and walk away and just be like, listen, God, ugh, yeah, that's just gross. Um, yeah, that's just bad. Um, the no, when it keeps you focused on your own goals. Again, we talked a little bit about that the no I gave to my boss, and my boss is a CEO. So I mean, this is this is a person who wields the authority, right? And it made me feel good because I did, and I stayed in my boundaries. Um, the no is important when it protects you from abuse by others. Sadly, our most important relationships often invite our ugliest communications, because the people closest to us, um, they arouse our strongest emotions, and in part it's because they are the people we fear losing the most. Fear can sap the strength we need to say, no, just when we need that power the most, and that's true, right? Exactly. Jen says, Shana says, when people come in authentic, it feels totally different. I'm scoping out trees right now. Yeah, I'm telling you. Shayna is the creeper stalking the neighborhood backyards. No. Yeah, she didn't say she was in her yard. She's walking and talking to trees. God love her for that. That is great. Excuse me. Um, but the know that um, protects those relationships. Hold on. Got a tickle in my throat. That that's a tough one because we don't want to, but if we can talk with them and talk through it, then that's huge. Um, you know, saying no to loved ones is, let's take a look at um, let's take a look at wait, I have to stay in my own backyard. Shane says, that's funny. Yeah, and Lisa says, just tell them Ken on 21.6 and that told you to. And tell them to tune in. That's right. Can't wait until people understand they can control the weather directly around them, getting closer with people having trees touch them. Yeah. There's a lot of energy out there that can be directed. Now, it's a family reunion. Maybe it's around Christmas time. And you say no to the family. So, case in point, my family's looking at getting together with Alice's family in the near future, trying to set it up and get the whole, everybody there, grandma, grandpa, kids, grandkids, cousins, aunts, uncles, all that stuff. And my son says, well, if it's going to be this week, I can't because of work, this, that, and the third. And my son's 28 years old. And he's in the Navy, so there are some limitations there. We kind of let him know early enough. Now that no said, the no was because of work. No, older folks, older generation, we go, oh, buddy, that's his goal. That's his pattern. That's his life. That's where he's going with it. So that's okay. The no hurts me because I love spending time with my son and his girlfriend, but the no for him is telling me where his boundaries are, and that's okay. And I need to respect that. And I need to be there for him, with him, to understand that as well. So it's important to understand that when somebody tells you no, a loved one tells you no, that's perhaps their boundaries, and that's okay, and that no is fine, and it should be accepted, and it's one that should be celebrated. And although we'll miss him there and he won't be in pictures and things like that, doesn't mean that we love him any less. It just means that we'll miss him during that time. So here's the deal. When kind of folding off of that is no is not a warm send, right? It's tough to deliver in large part because we have a gut sense of how it will be received, and that reception is that no is going to be received not well. And Lisa can probably talk to this better than I can, but neuroscience really supports our hunch that no is going to register far more harshly than we may have intended. The human brain is really hardwired to respond to no more quickly, more intensely, and more persistently than to a positive signal. That no is stronger than a yes. The brain, our brain, really has a so-called negativity bias. first described, and I've got to quote this here. I did a little reading on this by psychologist Roy Baumeister of Florida State University, where he explains why negative experiences have a more enduring impact on emotion than positive events or equal intensity. The brain reacts pleasantly to positive stimulus, but wildly painfully to negative stimulus. Now, no matter how we gift wrap it, no is, as Lori said, and that we've talked about earlier in the show, is a negative event, and we've been trained that. This holds true whether we're discussing financial matters, interpersonal events, whatever the case may be. No hurts, and it just doesn't matter, and it's tough when no hurts, and it's crazy. Shayna says, I like that perspective. If no keeps you on track with your personal goals, the ego isn't the primary driver. I agree. Don, good morning. Glad to see you hanging out with the other bald guy this weekend down there in Texas. Part of loving others is to accept their no when it is a no that is right for them. No does not mean for everything. Right. And really the hurt from that no is the hurt from the no is that I'm, I really wanted you there, or I really wanted to spend time with you, or I really needed your help. Yeah. Shana says, I think the reason most have a difficult time with saying no is the fear of being rejected. Again, if we understand that no is negative, and it's and if I ask you to do something that pushes your boundaries, then it's it's not necessarily being rejected. I have to look at it and say, well, I've asked Shayna perhaps to step outside of her boundaries, and maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should respect that a little bit. Jen says, how about just accepting others' no and train yourself not to take offense? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is the power of no gives me the power to not take it personally. You're not saying no to me, perhaps. Not saying no to me. You're allowing me to understand where your boundaries are, which is fine. Thought I heard somebody knocking at the door, but nobody is. All right. So that's a cool thing then for me to understand, I think, because you learn somebody's boundaries, and they're not necessarily saying no to you. I do like that, Shayna. No is a complete sentence, period. Why what she says, why do you think people are compelled to justify and rationalize the no? Because we are, again, wired, the brain is wired, is that's going to be a negative reception. It's going to be negative. It has negative power. However, when we take a look at it and say no, and understand that that's a boundary, and that's okay. I'm just going to accept your no. I don't need to know why. When I was in charge of a sales force, I had 100% commissioned sales force back in the 90s. And I told them, listen, you don't need to work 40 hours a week. If you can make the money you can make in 20 hours a week, you go out and make the money you can make in 20 hours a week. And I would have them call in the morning and sometimes say, oh, I can't make it into work. I'm feeling a little sick, whatever. I gave them a list. I gave them a list of excuses why I couldn't come to work, to the point where, and I numbered them. and I gave them to my sales team, and I was like, listen, if you're, it doesn't matter why you're not going to be here. I don't care. You're 100% commission. So I appreciate the communication. Please communicate with me, but you don't have to act sick all the time. If you're sick all the time, we've got to get you to a doctor because that's not healthy. But here's a list of excuses on why I can't come into work. Just call me and leave a voicemail that says, Kent, I can't come into work today, number 28. I can go look at 28 and whether that's my dog is, needs a haircut or whatever the case may be. That's good. Just give me a number on why. We don't have to go into particulars. No's should be the same way. No, number 45. Because the no's that I give you are going to be wrapped up and wrapped around in my boundaries. So but it is, I love that it's a complete sentence. No, boom, there you go. Jen says accepting others no empowers you to use the word as well. All positive. Absolutely. And I think that's what we here at 21.6 and 2 bald guys and a microphone really wanted to help people understand, is that the word no is positive. It's good. It's healthy. It's not negative. Look at it as a positive step. Understand your boundaries, justify your boundaries, and you'll learn that no is great, and no is will move you closer to the goals you have, to the dreams you have, than anything. Jen says when she was teaching preschool, we would say no thank you to the kids who did an unwanted behavior. It was a nice way to say stop. One day, a behavior therapist says, guys, stop saying no thank you to that little kid. It's confusing for them. I, I don't know. I guess I would challenge that and ask why it would be confusing for them, because you have what I think it's brilliant. I think you're telling them no thank you. You've stepped past my boundaries. No thank you. Don't want that attitude. No thank you. I don't need it, because that's what you're giving me. That's the energy that I'm receiving. Don't want it. You want some green beans? No thanks. Don't like green beans at all. Ugh. Right? I'll eat just about anything else, just not green or yellow beans, string beans. Whoever made green bean casserole should be shot. And listen, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. I want you to understand, I don't own a gun, so I'm not asking anybody to be shot. I just think it's a bad idea. So it is what it is. It is a tricky one, but I like that because I'm setting my boundary to you. I'm not going to accept that attitude. I'm not going to accept that. I think that's good. Shana says, I get crazed when managers try to micromanage commission sales reps. Give them a number and get out of the way. Why would a manager mess with the magic? I agree. Yeah, just let me go to work. If I need your help, I'll ask, but let me go to work and we can figure it out. Listen, this has been a fun morning. Our prayers going out to Coach Papa, the other bald guy, as he is down in Texas, bringing in and being there for his son and daughter-in-law as they bring in their, I might be third or fourth child, third anyway, that I know, but his 12th grandchild. He and April are down there on a trip, absolutely loving life and being the best grandparents that they can be. And absolutely love them for that. Of course, you are listening to 21.6 the Net. This has been two bald guys and a microphone, brought to you through the financial support of our good friends at Natural Therapy Wellness Center. Check them out at www.mchenrymassage.com. Listen, you might see a little different view than you've seen in the past here. You need to tune in all week, because there is some great things happening here at 21.6 the Net. New shows, the Reject Rundown, coming on Saturday. You gotta see the brand new space that we have. You are absolutely going to want to tune in. Next is let me tell you something, brother. On Tuesday, we've got Innovative Strategies. On Wednesday, we've got Real Talk with Scott Dean. That's the new movie one, Wednesday evening, where it's all talks about everything, movies, Hollywood, all that great stuff. This is going to be a blast. So for all of us here at 21.6 The Net, thanks for kicking your week off with two bald guys and a microphone. We love you, and make this the best week of the month. Make this the best day of your life. And remember, always check us out, like, share, subscribe. 21.6 The Net.